The NDP Premier of Alberta, Rachel Notley, has announced that she has hired a foreign-funded anti-oil sands lobbyist named Berman to co-chair the government's oil sands advisory group. As in, someone who has spent 10 years campaigning against the Alberta oil sands is now going to be writing Alberta's oil sands policy. 100,000 people have already lost their jobs in the NDP-created recession. Unemployment in Alberta is now higher than in Quebec. The province is in a deep recession. Notley is bringing in a carbon tax in 6 months, but there will still be some oil and gas companies who survive that. Well, Berman and this committee are here to finish them off. So who is Berman? Well, see for yourself. She says the oil sands are the most destructive blemish on the entire planet.
Canada's oil sands, the single largest and most destructive project on Earth.
We're aggressively pursuing the expansion of the oil sands. Already the single largest and most destructive industrial project on Earth.
She wants to block all pipelines.
We now see the debates about tar sands pipelines that threaten our coast and climate change also taking root here. More and more people are standing up and saying no to this dangerous development.
I'm encouraging people to oppose these pipelines.
And it's time to say no.
She's actually against oil sands workers themselves. You don't hear that sort of extremism too often. She doesn't think people should even go to Fort McMurray to work.
We need parents home with their kids instead of flying to Fort McMurray and their kids sitting at home waiting to see when they'll be home.
It is a tragedy that a generation of Canada's children are growing up on both sides of this coast, from Comox to Halifax, waiting for mom and dad to get home from Fort Mac.
She says oil and gas workers are corrupt, and they corrupt democracy.
More so than just corroding pipelines, oil is corroding our democracy.
And oil is not only corroding our pipelines, it's corroding our democracy.
Oil corrodes. It's corroding our pipelines for sure. Another spill today. But it's also corroding our institutions.
She says she wants to completely phase out oil jobs.
We're literally re-envisioning how society works.
But we will re-envision industrial society.
We now have the capacity to re-envision industrial society.
She's said these things hundreds of times for 10 years. She was Greenpeace International's climate campaign boss. She co-founded Forced Ethics, the most vicious anti-oil sands lobby group in the United States. She has personally lobbied against Canada, against Alberta, in countries around the world.
All along the Keystone Pipeline, I met with farmers in Nebraska last month who are campaigning against tar sands.
And she's now the co-chair of the committee that will plan the oil sands future for Rachel Notley. Let me remove the suspense here. Berman doesn't want the oil sands to have a future. There is no compromise, no middle way. Nothing is environmentalist enough for Berman. She wants the oil sands gone.
Coal, we've got to keep it in the ground. Oil sands, we've got a problem there. Because we're not going to be able to avoid runaway climate change unless we keep it in the ground.
We need to keep the majority of the carbon that we have left, the majority of the oil, the majority of the coal in the ground.
Berman isn't the only anti-oil sands extremist appointed to this committee. She's the co-chair of it, but there's also this woman, Karen Mahon, being arrested in this picture here by police at an anti-oil sands protest in BC. So she was arrested at a protest. She's on the panel too. She actually works for Berman. She works for Forced Ethics and used to work for Greenpeace too. So this whole committee is basically owned by Berman. Tim Gray is on Berman's committee too. He's a registered anti-oil sands lobbyist with a group called Environmental Defense. What are they like? Here's the cover of one of their research papers, smearing the tar sands as the death of the planet. Simon Dyer's on the Berman committee too. He's with the Pembina Institute, who were revealed to be taking money from foreign governments to lobby the Alberta government against the oil sands, taking foreign government money. These people don't support the oil sands. They don't even want to improve the oil sands. They don't want to fix the oil sands. They want to destroy the oil sands. Berman calls the oil sands a scandal.
People often say to me, it's a tragedy. It's the biggest industrial project on Earth. It's a tragedy. No, A tragedy is a problem without a solution. A problem with a solution that is not being acted upon is not a tragedy, it's a scandal.
Rachel Notley and the NDP have brought these wreckers in, these foreign-funded lobbyists. For 10 years, they've tried to destroy the oil sands from the outside. Now they'll work at it from the inside with Notley's help. This is too much. We've got to fight back. Here are 3 ways. Number 1, forward this video to your friends. Post it on Facebook. We have to show people what Berman actually says and thinks. People won't believe it if they don't see it with their own eyes. We've got to share this video. Number 2, sign our petition at FireBerman.ca. We need to collect 100,000 signatures minimum to let Notley know that we won't take this lying down. 100,000 signatures, that's the number of oil and gas jobs killed by Notley so far. That number will grow, I'm afraid. And the third thing we need to do is, well, if you can, help our campaign. We are buying billboards in Alberta, starting in Calgary, for our FireBerman.ca campaign. It's about pressuring Notley to get rid of these lobbyists, but really, we know Notley doesn't care what Albertans think, so the main purpose of these billboards is to spread the facts about the nature of Notley's wrecking crew, to show Albertans that however bad it is now, it is about to get much worse. So please forward this video. Please sign our petition and help chip in to our billboard campaign. Tzipora Berman wants to fire every single worker in Alberta's oil sands. No. She's the one who needs to be fired. Visit FireBerman.ca. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.